Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm Hena Rakheja, as the lady graciously announced. And we have with us Vasudha. Vasudha Sehgal, who has written this very interesting book, Almost Perfect, but Mostly Not. If people at the back are keen to join in the conversation, I would request you to please take a seat so that we can start our discussion.
I request everybody to be seated.
How many in the audience have actually got your hands on this book that Vasudha has written? Do we have anyone here who has already got the book and has read it? Okay, thank you, sir. Anyone else? Lovely. So we're going to have a discussion that is going to, I feel, enwrap the rest of you, because these short stories, ever since I have picked them up myself, I have not been able to leave them, especially after starting one, like I told Vasudha just before the discussion began, that they are compelling to the core. You know, once you pick up a short story, it's very difficult to let go of it, but at the same time, it's also very difficult to write these. Almost Perfect, but Mostly Not, as the name says, talks all about imperfections. हम में से कितने लोग हैं जो यहाँ पे आने से पहले आपने चेक किया होगा, ओ हमारी ड्रेस ठीक है, बाल ठीक हैं, मिरर में देख लें, कुछ तो ठीक कर लें, कुछ ठीक कर लें. बट ये परफेक्शन में जाने का ही नहीं है हमको तो, क्योंकि वसुधा कह रही है कि इम्परफेक्शन में हम खुश हैं, हम उसी को ही सेलिब्रेट करेंगे आज. और इस imperfection को, I don't know if somebody here is an artist and kind of appreciates the Japanese art of kintsugi, wherein we use gold and gold foil to enhance a piece of art. I think वसुधा ने कहीं ना कहीं वही करा है. उन्होंने imperfections उठाई हैं और उसको enhance करा है अपनी writing के through, which I'm sure that if you read, you will realize what I'm trying to say. So Vasudha, tell me that how did the process of, creating work on imperfection come to you, and what was the theme and the thought behind when you first started compiling this composition?
I think, Hena, the theme and the thought was that in today's world, we are very busy curating perfect lives, the perfect selfie on Instagram, the perfect wedding, the perfect relationship, the perfect friendship. Whereas flaws are what makes human beings relatable, there is always beauty in chaos, and we can always learn from flaws. I wanted to celebrate the crack lines, like you talked about the Japanese form of, where you fix pottery with gold.
Yes.
So human beings, we all have fault lines. That's what makes us human. And we all deal with it with a bit of humor, resilience, agony, and sometimes denial. So that is what my character's journey was as well. And that is what life is. Perfection to me is a scam. That's
Absolutely.
what inspired me to write this.
Absolutely. I think that's a wonderful answer. Can we have a round of applause for that, please? Thank you. Because, this, years ago, a former editor of mine told me that perfection is a fallacy. It's excellence that we should strive for. And taking away from that thought, coming to this book, that you've written, जो writing process आपका रहा वसुधा, that I'm sure must have been difficult. At least that is what it looks like, because there are certain stories in which you have narrated, you've gone through time spans and narrated, a character's life in a very short format. So how did you do that?
Absolutely, Hena. Short fiction लगता आसान है, but it is very difficult because, like you said, you're trying to capture lifespans in a few pages, and you're also trying to make it entertaining. So definitely, I would call it an art form. It is definitely more difficult than writing a novel. But I think it's what's satisfying the need today. We all have attention spans of a goldfish, but thankfully, curiosity is still high. So I thought that how do you make non-readers readers? How do you make them pick up a book and binge a book instead of binging a show? And I thought, why not short stories?
But I think you're equally at ease when it comes to making people binge on shows. I think आपने अपनी एक story अभी तो बेच भी दी है इन्होंने. Let's
I've
congratulate
sold a film
her.
script. Not sure when that gets made. Hopefully in this lifetime, and we'll
Is
be
it for
speaking
OTT?
about it.
Is it for the OTT platform or
It's
is
a
it
feature
for...
film,
Oh, lovely.
and
Wonderful.
currently these stories are getting pitched as screen adaptations because they're pretty visual. And I hope Netflix is hearing today.
Many congratulations. And when you write, do you think कि अच्छा मुझे हो सकता है कि आगे चल के इस स्टोरी को अडेप्ट करना हो स्क्रीन के लिए, कहीं ना कहीं does that thought stay in your mind when you start writing, or do you think no, I have to do my service as a writer, the rest depends on the destiny of the story?
Well, see, OTT and short stories are very different forms. There's a structure to them both. But if you ask me subconsciously, I think I'm a visual storyteller because my inspiration growing up has been everything was a story. Whether it was, our house had a lot of books. We had everything from Dickens to Oscar Wilde to Architectural Digest magazines and Vogue magazines, my mother's collection of magazines, Vogue magazines from the 80s, which is also drama, imagery, visual storytelling. I loved watching sitcoms with my sister, with my elder sister, watching the 80s sitcoms like Genie in a Bottle and Friends. What great humor, what great characters. So I think I like to address the characters in my short story as someone who's making an entrance. I'm concerned about what they are wearing. I'm concerned about how they are feeling. So they do seem to be very immediate and visual. And what was your question? I have lost you.
That's okay. So I was asking that when you start writing, do you have it at the back of your mind that you might have to adapt it for the screen someday?
Well, no, because I feel then you're doing injustice to the short story. I know how to do a script. I know I can adapt it if the need arises. But I feel that a short story is like an espresso shot. It has to be strong and pack a punch really quickly. So when your reader is purchasing your book, you have to give them what they are expecting. So I think it is injustice to kind of write a short story hoping that it gets adapted. But if it does get adapted, that's a bonus.
Wonderful. And I think you mentioned reading Vogue magazines as part of your mother's collection. इसीलिए I think this entire book has a lot of mention of all the luxury brands. किसी के लिए तो शायद आपको यहाँ पे डिक्शनरी उठा के उनकी pronunciation भी चेक करनी पड़ जाए. So I'm warning you, but that's really fun in a way. And short stories की अगर बात करें, how and where do you get your characters from, Vasudha? Should we ask somebody in the audience to kind of become a model for you and you would want to kind of describe them in your words?
Sure. I think characters are everywhere. You just have to see and listen. We all have an opinion and it's great to give it, but we are listening less. I like people watching. I think travels are a great inspiration because you meet people from all walks of life, all cultures. And सबके पीछे एक story छुपी है. Behind every house there's a story. Behind every window there's a story. Are you listening? And are you interested? Is the question.
Okay. So, is there anybody from the audience here who really excites you and you would, probably want to write about in your next short story?
I deliberately didn't tell very many people because I still have imposter syndrome about being here.
Okay.
So my mom, dad, and my husband are in the audience and definitely interested in all of them.
And I'm sure they would have also been becoming your sounding board as in whenever you write. So who
100.
goes through that that process of अच्छा मैंने ये लिखा, अच्छा रात में 3 बजे उठ के अरे ये तो सुनो ये मैंने लिखा है अभी ताज़ा नया. Does that happen?
100% I bug everybody. My family are great critics of mine, which I think is wonderful because it keeps you self-aware. And I've had 1 or 2 friends, fellow writers, who've given me their valuable inputs. And I have a very strong inner editor. I am my biggest critic. So I think that helps.
Okay, good that you told me because I was about to ask that who's your biggest critic and your biggest admirer?
Biggest admirer, though, I don't know. It
Your
would
mom,
sound too
maybe?
pompous. I think I have a long way to go, and hopefully the admirers will follow for my literary pursuits or to be a good person in society. And critic, तो मैं अपनी खुद की हूँ काफी बड़ी. You just don't have to show it.
Right. The book also has a lot of, this banter between millennials, and there are Gen Z terms, sprayed all over. Was it
Right.
an intention to include these so that, you gauge the interest?
That's an
of-
interesting question, Hena. I think the millennial Gen Z Jugalbandi is very interesting because even though they are so close in generation, they are very different. I am a millennial, pre-scroll era, and I think millennials have had the burden of expectations, legacy. They've seen hard work up close. The burden of legacy as well as the burden of carrying their own dreams ahead. And I think Gen Z just says no and has no qualms about it, and they are in existential crisis mode a lot of the times, not worrying about the future.
That's so true.
So I just thought the emotional nuances between the two generations are pretty stark, little things, even in relationships, who texts who ghosts who, little nuances are different amongst the Gen Z and the millennial generation, which is what I thought would be interesting to kind of encapsulate.
But Vasudha, you've also been part journalist. So being a journalist myself, I would really want to ask you that, people have this thought in their head that if we can write, then we can also be a journalist, we can be a writer, we can be anything. Do you think that all forms of writing are the same? If you are a good writer, you can be a good journalist and vice versa?
Firstly, I think writing per se is not mutually exclusive from any career, Hena. In fact, if you take the best writers, you take Ernest Hemingway, you take Roald Dahl. Roald Dahl, one of my favorites since childhood, was a fighter pilot in World War II. He was an intelligence officer. Ernest Hemingway was, participated in World War I. So just the first part of it, I think you can write and you can do whatever else you want to do. As far as journalism and fiction is concerned, obviously they are very, very, very different. Journalism would be, I think journalistic media is the fourth pillar of democracy. It shapes public opinion, it shapes, it holds power to account, it is a vehicle of the kind of development we need. Hence, journalism needs to see the truth, speak the truth, and report the truth. Fiction, on the other hand, is where you're creating a new world entirely. And I'll tell you why that's very important. Creation is as important as innovation. We talk a lot about innovation in today's technologically advanced times. Innovating is building upon something that exists. Via fiction, you're creating new worlds. And civilizations have built upon civilizations with creation. Fiction puts language ahead, which is the blueprint of culture. And without creation, there's no evolution. So you can do both, but they are two very different things, not one to be confused with the other. In my personal journey, journalism taught me an eye for detail, an ear for dialogue, and that's great when I build my fictional characters. So, yeah.
So yes, you very thoughtfully pointed out about fiction and the language usage in it. So the language that you've used in this book is also apt as per the genre. And
Right.
and there are also I saw some poetry seeped in between.
Sure.
And I would really like
I'm
to
a closet Instagram poet.
Okay.
Thank you for putting that plug. I may get a few followers more on my poetry page. Vasudha underscore poetry is the handle.
Okay, so I would like to write this, I would like to read this poem on page 10. To the moon he didn't compare her, for the moon was stained. Neither to the red rose, for she hadn't the thorns and rough edges. He compared her to the reflection of the sunset in the sea, for just like the orange in water, she was the fire that ignited his pristine soul. Aren't these beautiful words? Like, I mean, you know, to experience imperfections, what could be better than this? So, why is it that you're not writing poetry, ma'am?
Oh, of course I am, but nobody's publishing it. Which is shout out.
We have Rupa here. We have Om Publishers here. Is anybody listening, please?
Have to give you a mention if the book gets published.
Yes, absolutely. I'll take the credit for it as well. I'm open to editing as well.
Lovely.
Okay. Can we now move on to some audience questions in case there are any, or you know, on writing? If any one of you wants to know what is it that goes behind a writer's mind, you know, when they start creating stories, fiction stories specifically, since fiction is the genre that we are celebrating here. Do we have a mic for the audience? Anybody in the audience who would like to ask? While they're framing their questions, Vasudha, is there any part of the book that you would like to read?
Well, if you really want me to, I will.
Please.
It's like choosing between your children, so it's a tricky path.
So Vasudha, I would like to ask, when you are writing the story, so you said that you are the critic of your own self. So do you change the plot, or do you change the story? Have you changed the story, or we have replotted it again? Or it is you started and you finished it in one go? Have you changed it? Have you modified it many times? Then you came to the final story. How did you do that? Because you are a young and emerging author.
Great question. You know, I've found that my best writing is the first cut. I mean, I don't mean to sound personally. It's full of heart. It's you know, it's raw. But sometimes you do have to, if your editor demands it. You just don't have a choice. It humbles you. There have been one or two stories which have taken me a while and I've gone back to them. But mostly, I think I like finishing it in one shot.
Interesting. So would you like to go on and read?
Sure. Anything you'd like me to read in particular?
I really find, you know, this paragraph on page 48,
Okay.
which is part of the story that's titled Elite Club. Would you please read it for our audience?
Sure. In a world that moved so fast, one-click deliveries, blink and you miss it social media likes, and transient spaces that are here today, gone tomorrow, customers like Kamla Auntie offered her a sense of stability. No matter what changed, Kamla Auntie's cake order and mixed up life lessons remained a constant, and Pia had found a strange solace in that.
So you know why I specifically picked up this paragraph is because here we are talking about, you know, one-click deliveries, blink it, and you miss it, you know. So there's this often references that you've picked up in your writing. And today, since we are here in, you know, Lutyens Delhi, and you've written about Lutyens Delhi extensively in these stories, of course, you've grown up here and you kind of, you know and have the idea of how the place is. But beyond that, what are the things that can never go away, you know, when we characterize this part of the country and the world?
Well, I've grown up in Lutyens Delhi, yes, amongst many other cities. I've been pretty nomadic. I've grown up in a city very close to New Delhi as well called Chandigarh. I've grown up in a boarding school nestled in the foothills of the Himalayas called the Lawrence School, Sana. But for me, I think Lutyens Delhi is, it's more of a character. Of course, if you look at the history of Lutyens' Delhi, it was a beautiful tree-lined heart of New Delhi, which was conceptualized by the architect Irving Lutyens in the early 20th century when the Britishers decided to change the capital from Calcutta to New Delhi. And amongst the many places that I have lived in, when we look at the manicured lawns and the perfect gateways and gates behind those homes are stories of occupants of several generations, from a 96-year-old grandmother to the youngest in the house, and so are there stories of the gardeners who are pruning the gardens. But apart from Lutyens' Delhi, you'll find in the book their setting is City of Dreams, Bombay, one of the most culturally relevant cities in the world, London, Eurasia, Turkey, Israel, the holy city of Amritsar, Chandigarh. So there are stories with these backdrops as well.
Yes, very rightly put, because Delhi has so many stories in it, and being a Delhiite myself, I have that love for Delhi that I could very much relate to when I was reading this book. Any other questions from the audience? Okay. So meanwhile, Vasudha, why don't you tell me about this story that we were talking about before the session began, and you said that it's one of your favorites, and why is it your favorite, the reason for that?
Well, again, I find it difficult to pick, but I think we're talking about Serendipity Lost and Found. It's actually one of the shortest stories in the book. It's about a man on the brink of his marriage, and he is in London, on a work trip, and he's just bought himself a pair of blue suede shoes. And across the road, he spots the one that got away, the love of his life. And then we flash back into their love story. What makes it very beautiful is it has an unexpected ending, and it's a non-linear format in just a few pages. And it has a sense of nostalgia to it. We go back to a time which was probably slower and more sweeter in the protagonist's life. And, what he's also looking forward to in the future. So just that ambiguity in a character's mind is very interesting to me.
So whenever you see characters like these, I'm sure you would be having them all around you in your real life. Has anyone taken offense that, oh, this character seems like me? Why have you made,
Henna, the stories are fiction, but feelings are fact. Human emotions are universal across milieu and across culture. Of course, subconsciously, I may have picked up, a story here from an anecdote from a grandmother, or, an anecdote from a stranger, but I don't think that I have ever, written that or duplicated that at all. It's like a cake. When you write fiction, you have the ingredients for a great short story, but what you finally bake is your own. So no, nobody's taken offense till now, thankfully. My mother insists that there is 2-3 lines of hers, but I think she's
you need to dedicate more to her?
I did dedicate the book to my parents, but no.
Okay.
Not consciously, for sure.
Okay. But tell me a little also about your next piece of writing after this. What is it that you're working on? How are you putting your thoughts together? And do you wish to continue in short format, or is, like a long form novel on the cards?
Sure, Hannah. I think the characters tell you whether it's going to be a short story or a full-length novel. That being said, I have written a novel. Any takers, I am here available for the next half an hour. It's a romantic, fun fiction novel. I hope we see that sees the light of day. I love the art of screenwriting. Currently, we are pitching this for adaptations, and fingers crossed, I get to work on a screenplay.
How lovely is that, that you prefer and you choose to write the screenplay yourself? Is it also a fact that you do not want your writing to be butchered by somebody else?
I would love collaboration. I think it's great if somebody else wants to co-write and wants to take out the time and give your characters. I would look at it as a lot of love. You know, they want to delve into the minds of your characters and work with you. So I absolutely love co-writing. In fact, whichever room I go for a pitch into any production house, I say, listen, we're all learning. I have written this, but if you want to bring it out cinematically, Henna, there is an entire village that goes into creating something cinematically. So I'm very aware of that, and hence I think it's better for the story if you're open to collaboration.
Okay, point well taken. So let's see if there's anybody who wants to collaborate on these thoughts and ask any questions, or else we will move on to another set of reading. Oh, finally, we have two great minds keen to ask you questions. Vasudha, all set? Hope there are no googlies.
Hi, Vasudha.
Hi.
Please introduce yourself first.
This is Chandan. So I am a bit AI guy, but I am keen into writing too. So now, gloom, sadness are friends of a writer. So how much gloominess, sadness has helped you in writing?
Well, that's a difficult one.
So basically he says कि वो कहते हैं ना कि जितना दर्द हो जिंदगी में उतना ही बढ़िया लिखावट आती है.
What's your name? Chandan. I think, Chandan, human beings are complex creatures. I think all my gloom, sadness, euphoria, anger has gone into writing. Thank God it's not gone into anything else. But काफ़ी दुख दर्द गया होगा. मैंने कभी बैठ के सोचा नहीं है, आज मैं सोचूंगी. I'll go story by story and see किसमें कितना दर्द डाला था मैंने. And I'll get back to you.
Sorry, Chandan, you were saying something?
No, actually, I started writing from the age of 8. I was about a bunch of friendly witches, and I honestly had a great childhood. Our dinner table conversations were like lively talk shows where we discussed everything from current events to the happenings of the day to books, theatre. My travels influenced me a lot, where we would go watch a play, a West End play, visit museums. And I very early on in life, at the age of 7, became an avid collector of subway tickets, museum stubs. And I think I was a mini critic at 7. I think it's what you're exposed to, and when you're encouraged to have an opinion, even in a school like I went to, somewhere maybe you want to put pen to paper and try and change the world, or at least make it a little bit of a better place. So I think that's what my story was.
So right, we needn't always be unhappy to write great stories. We can be happy and write great ones. Is that correct?
I think so.
Yes, please, sir.
Yeah, hi Vasudha, I'm Amit, I'm an architect.
Hi, Amit.
And I can completely relate with you growing up in Lutyens because I did too. Did staying in Lutyens or did staying in such places where the next house was probably 200 meters away allow you more time to observe?
Well, Amit, actually, I lived in a bunch of cities. At 10, I went to a boarding school. So I think I observed from wherever I was. I mean, yes. So I'm not sure if it was only Lutyens, Delhi, that kind of influenced my writing, because that was a part of my life, but not the whole of it, for sure.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so Vasudha, there's this Maya character which keeps reappearing in your writing. And in one of the short stories, there is a Maya 3.0. I really want to know, is that inspired by your journalistic pursuits?
No, it's not inspired by me, Henna, but it's inspired by a lot of women in India that are
Let's say Delhi.
No,
Lutyens
not
Delhi.
not Delhi. I would open it out to to the country, who are overqualified, underappreciated. Indian women have a common fabric across generations, where they deal with the politics of intellect.
You said some pretty hard words. The board fell. Oh, everything's fine. Please continue.
So I think Indian women have a common fabric across generation, where they deal with, multitasking a myriad of roles.
And we doubt ourselves a lot. Do you agree?
100%. Very true. Very true. I think that's in our subconscious,
Right.
forever doubting ourselves. So I think Maya was that woman that I've seen maybe in newsrooms that are overqualified and underappreciated, and Maya 3.0 is definitely a tech support reboot to modern womanhood.
For those of you in the audience who don't know who Maya is, I really recommend you to please pick up this book after this session. We have a few copies outside, I believe, and do read these and share your feedback on what are the short stories, and because it's very difficult to write short stories. Trust me, coming from a journalistic background, I know what it is, and Vasudha has done a wonderful job with it. If there are any more questions, then we can please take those up, or else we'll just read one paragraph and close the session. Would you want to read, Vasudha, from Serendipity Lost and Found? Yeah.
Serendipity Lost and Found. Rajan thought it was her, but couldn't be certain. She was just a few steps ahead on the busy street, her trademark long auburn hair bouncing loosely behind her. He quickened his pace, eager not to lose her, around the bend. And then he caught sight of that unmistakable face, sea green eyes, a button nose, and bow-shaped lips, resting above a small but strong chin. The only thing that seemed different was the melancholy lurking behind the half-smile that had always been so characteristic of Janet.
Thank you, Vasudha. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
For sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank
you,
you.
everyone.
Thank you so much, ma'am. With grace and gratitude, we honor Miss Vasudha and Miss Hina for their presence and support
Thank you.
for such a wonderful book. Now I request Mr. Nasir Jamal, Director